right, what is up, Wheelers? Welcome to the Lightbars and Lockers podcast, the podcast for Jeep owners, where we talk about badass builds, answer your questions, and talk about ways to beef up your ride. As always, I'm Paul with JeepBeef. We've got Ryan from Combat Offroad, and joining us tonight, we've got Justin Schoener. What is going on, gentlemen?
What's going on, brother? You doing all right?
Doing okay.
Sorry,
Ryan, a little bit of a hiccup with his computer.
I did. Sorry.
So good. So,
I didn't think it was going to take 48 minutes to update the stupid Mac.
Right. Awesome. Well, yes, this is the Christmas edition, and we are not talking anything Christmas, so that's amazing. We'll just pretend. Yeah, we'll just say Christmas. There you go.
Yeah,
Merry Christmas.
That works.
There we go. Yeah, so joining us tonight, Justin Schoener. Justin's a business leader, an avid off-roader, and a serial entrepreneur. Justin, welcome. Thanks for being here. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Give us that 20,000-foot view and introduce yourself to our audience.
What's going on, guys? Justin Schoener here, born and raised in Victoria, Texas, very close to the coast. I have owned and operated Outlaw Offroad Texas for 22 years now, and with plenty of trials and tribulations, we've grown this business into a 8,000 square foot facility on an acre and a half in the middle of Victoria, Texas. And man, we're just growing every day, set this world on fire, man, with some badass builds and learning everything we can about vehicles.
Nice. That's awesome. Right on. So you were saying it was 71 degrees where you are right now.
Yeah, it is 71 degrees in South Texas, man.
71 degrees, man. That is not bad. I don't know. And we were just talking off air, and you mentioned that you'd tell us the story about the Gladiator. So that was the first time you'd been in the snow?
Yep. So I took a trip with my Inside Investors group, and we went to Utah for a meeting. And I went a day early, and I was looking for some promo shots, and I found the Jeep on Turo that had 40s on it. And I was like, hell yeah, I was a Gladiator on 40s. And so I hit it up on Turo, rented it out, dope ass ride. But you know me, and I'm sure all of y'all the first thing I did was look at the suspension, right? And I was like, all right, dude, this thing's got a leveling kit stacked on top of coil springs, stacked on top of track bar brackets on adjustable track bars. And I'm like, all right, let's see how this thing drives, man. And it drove okay. It wasn't the end of the world, but it definitely was not up to our standards, and I'm sure not up to y'all standards either.
Yeah, right.
But man, we got to get up in the mountains in Utah. Pretty wild experience. Just hit up trails, man. Got on alltrails.com on the app, and man, found me a driving trail. Never really played in the mountains and never been in the snow with an off-road. It don't snow in Texas, guys.
Right.
So, pardon us for not being able to experience that very often.
Yeah.
And got to get up there, and man, it started snowing and sleeting and all kinds of fun shit. And this is a fully loaded Rubicon. So I locked it all down, locked the gears, undid the sway bars and everything. And it had 40-inch Pro Comps. They only had about 30% tread left on it. And that was not a good thing, man.
Right? Yeah. Pro Comps on a good day, right?
Yeah, put it on 4 low and man, just creeped through the mountain on this trail, and it was fresh powder. So I couldn't see where.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Right, sure, right?
So
oh, shit, right.
I just want to hug the side of the mountain, right? Safely. Yeah. And a buddy was with me from my Apex group, Eric, and man, we were just cruising, right? I mean, doing 5-10 miles an hour. And I was like, dude, when do we stop? We were asking ourselves because we really couldn't turn around. It was so narrow of a trail. It would have taken like a 10-point turnaround. And we were asking, like, when do we stop, turn around? Well, the snow told us when to stop because I got that bitch stuck, dude.
Oh, no.
So, man, I got out. Well, first thing you do when you get stuck is get outside and get pictures, right?
Of course.
So, we took selfies, man. Got some badass photo ops in the middle of the snow. And then I said, all right, dude, let's get a game plan here. And he wanted to go further up to walk it to see if we could get up there. Every time I'd move, I would skirt and slide sideways and everything else, rocking it. And, man, what we ended up doing was thank God for reverse cameras. On those reverse cameras, you get those green and red lines, right? They're like parking lines. Who the hell uses those? Like, for real. Like, who really uses those? Well, I'll tell you what, bro. Those things saved our lives. I literally lined up those green and red lines with my old tracks and put it in reverse for a mile down the mountain, dude.
Oh, no, the whole way down reverse.
The whole way down in reverse. Until I could turn around and find a point.
Right.
So yeah, dude, it was a hell of an experience, man. It was awesome though. dude, it was totally badass. And
Awesome.
I told the guy, I was like, dude, you definitely need new tires on this thing. And I wasn't gonna bash him online on turnover or nothing. I was like, dude, you need to get some new tires on this sucker, bro. Like, I didn't tell him I got stuck, but
you should have got 70% discount because you're missing 70% of the tires.
Right.
Right. But it was a badass experience, man, and I'm gonna do it again. Utah's such beautiful country up there. Damn.
Well,
yeah, I was gonna say, Ryan, you were there, yeah.
Yeah, we on the way to SEMA, we stopped and we went to Hell's Revenge.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and we did that with our Jeep, like our JL we brought to SEMA, and even before that, we stopped in Denver and went up the mountains just outside of Denver and did a trail. So it was pretty cool. The funny thing is, we put the Jeep in the trailer in Michigan and didn't pull it out to Colorado, and then the air idle was all fucked up because it didn't know where it was, right? So it was just it was like trying to run with a sock in your mouth. It was just like forever. It was brutal. It didn't adapt really fast at all.
Right.
That was my biggest problem with.
Cool.
SEMA was very good this year, man. It was quite interesting.
You were there. You went, yeah.
With the new hall being open, I loved how that hall is like legit, bro. Like,
man.
You might have walked right. We were in the West Hall.
Yeah, I probably walked right by y'all, man. Didn't even realize it. And
yeah, look at that junk. Let's go get a fucking beer.
Right.
Awesome. Dion says, "Hey, what's up?" Sorry to interrupt there. Dion says, "Hey, Dion, what is up?" Real quick before we circle back, because we have lots to talk about. I have lots of questions. I'm super interested in asking a billion of them. But before that, we have a question from our text community. And maybe you two gentlemen can help him out. So it's a long one, so I'll try to get through it. Oh, no, wait. It's not as long as he just submitted it twice. So it says, hey, what's going on? I have a 2007 Jeep JK. Modified it quite a bit. Some of the mods are, it's a Curry 44 front axle, 488 gears, RCV axle shafts, 4.5-inch lift, ARB lockers, 37-inch Nitto grapplers, Curry anti-rock front and rear anti-sway bars. It's really detailed. I have a front axle shafts and front Curry anti-sway installed at the same time. Right away, my ABS traction control and ESP or BAS light come on. And when I apply just the brake pedal with very lightly, I can feel the ABS kicking on. I just ordered a JK Blaster, but any suggestions on what you would do for this? My ABS cables are good. Please let me know what you think. That was long. Does that... I don't know. You think the JK Blaster is going to fix that? I don't think so.
No. I mean, if you can turn the ABS off, but that doesn't solve your problem. It just band-aids it.
It just hides it.
Ryan, are those Curry set up for ABS for direct bolt-ins?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it should be that that shouldn't be a problem because all the ABS sensors in the wheel bearing,
right?
So it shouldn't be an issue. I don't know. He might have disturbed the ABS when he took the wheel bearing out, put it on the ground or something like that, or if he dislodged the ABS sensor out of the wheel bearing and then left the knuckle and the ABS sensor together. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or I don't know what he did, because you can get them without outers. And if you get a 44 without outers, you usually take your OE outers, install them, right? So, I mean, the wiring could look just fine, but he could have screwed up the sensor. So either if you pulled the sensor out, it could be faulty. I mean, if you're skilled, you can check continuity between the sensor, you know what I mean, and the actual plug. If that works. If you're at a loss, if you want ABS and you're at a loss and you don't have those skills, you can pay someone, or you could just change the wheel bearings out inclusively that come with the ABS sensor, or you just turn it off with like a taser or something like that, or whatever you like, and have
JK
no ABS if you want, right? So that's kind of it.
Okay.
In my opinion, I mean that's where I would be with it. You know what I mean?
I'll Raj, if you're watching this, that's a good place to start. And if it doesn't work, text back in, man.
And just check all four if you're going to do it. If you can check continuity between all four, but if you did disturb the front ones, it's an older Jeep, and if I don't know how old those wheel bearings are, and those sensors, if you took them right out, like I said, that's probably where your challenges lie. You know what I mean? If you want to make yourself feel better, if you can get the truck off the ground and give your tire a little shake, you got 37s and you got little wheel bearings, chances are you got bad wheel bearings anyways. So it wouldn't be bad to change them out with the sensor included anyway. So then you won't feel bad for buying a whole new wheel bearing.
There
So
you
just
go, right?
if it shakes at all, it looks like your lug nuts are loose, then your wheel bearings are toast. And they'll toast pretty quick with 37s on a quarter-ton axle. So
okay, cool. Rusty says, "Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas,
Merry
Rusty,
Christmas, man.
buddy."
Appreciate you. He's always here.
Yeah, he's always here.
Yeah.
Dion too. You guys are awesome. All right. So Justin,
Dion too. Yeah, sorry, Dion. Merry Christmas.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, Dion, did you buy anything new this week? He's got a handful of Jeeps he's working on. The last one he picked up was a 2-wheel drive MJ that he's gonna convert. Yeah, so it's pretty sick. All right, so Justin, tell us. Let's talk about like historically. Was Outlaw, was that your first business? Tell us about like how you started it, and you've been doing it for 20 plus years. Yeah, give us a.
So when I was 15, guys, I was raised in a middle-class family, average, nothing too crazy, nothing poor, nothing rich. Parents made us work. We always had to work for everything we had. When I was 15, we had to buy our own vehicles for our 16th birthday. So my parents took me to a construction site to just be a carpenter helper. And man, I saved up my money that summer and saved up about $2,000. And man, I bought my first truck. It was an 80 Chevrolet long bed square body, man, 4-wheel drive.
Oh,
nice.
Had 4 inches of lift and 35-inch tires underneath it. And I bought it from the individual. I begged my dad. I think my dad was living vicariously through me because he never really had any toys.
Sure.
You know, helping his son go through it all and everything. And it needed some work, but man, it was still a good truck. I mean, y'all granted this was back in 1992. So we're going way back.
Right.
Man, we got home, you know, as my dad was just a basic general hobby mechanic. We started going through the truck, you know, checking the dipsticks, you know, checking all the fluids, making sure everything's 110%. And I said, Dad, let's find out what gear ratios in this truck. And he's like, well, I don't know how. So I broke out the Peterson's off-road magazines, man. I know y'all remember those stacks of magazines we used to have in our bedrooms before the internet was even available. And so I flipped through them. You know, they had tech sections and everything else. So, you know, you rotated the tire, count the pinion rotations, and we figured it out. And, man, this truck had 308 gears in the rear, 373s in the front.
Oh, shit.
And I said, Dad, what the hell does that mean? Here I am, 15 years old. And he goes, son, you can't put this truck in 4-wheel drive.
Right.
And, you know, had I put it in 4-wheel drive, dude, everything would have exploded. The transfer case, the transmission, the axles. It would have been a mess for a 15-year-old kid. So, man, at that point, I realized what an asshole that guy was for never telling us that information, man.
Sure.
That guy knew that he was selling a truck to a 15-year-old kid as his first vehicle. Yeah. And I made a pact to myself that I would never, ever in my life ever treat anyone like that, man. And lo and behold, broke out the classified newspapers. Y'all remember the newspapers, man? You had classifieds in the bottom. This is before Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace. And somebody was swapping 3/4-ton axles in a Blazer, man. And so I snagged me up a pair of 1/2-ton axles for like $400 for the pair, complete assemblies. So Dad and I broke down. I went and got them. And, you know, at that point, we had to learn how to take the leaf springs apart, how to take the pitman arm off, and all the steering components. And basically, I rebuilt the truck with putting the lift kit on without having to put a lift kit on. And that's where it all started, man. And I said, man, I really enjoy this. And, of course, I wanted, a big, bad truck on a ballin' budget. And, man, I got it for my 16th birthday. We were set. The truck had a Corvette 350 in it. And my parents, I went to a private high school, Catholic high school. So my parents paid the gas bill, right? Oh. And they got the gas bill back for that month, and it was like $300, bro. And they're like, son, this isn't happening anymore. You're going to sell that truck, and you're going to go get something more efficient. So lo and behold, I sold the truck for like $5,500, bro. So I made me a solid $3,000 profit on the truck. And to this day, I've owned about 150 vehicles, man, throughout my time, between flipping them and fixing them up and just all kinds of toys. And that's where it all started, man. And then moved forward, graduated high school. I graduated with an 84 Chevy square body short bed on 4 inches. Super cherry truck, dude. I ended up selling that truck for like $9,000. And this is back in the 90s. Short bed, it was a beauty, man. I really do regret selling that truck because this day and age, you can't find them anymore, the square bodies.
Oh man, huge money.
So, parents wanted me to go to college like any good parent does, want the best for their son. My parents wanted me to follow my dad's footsteps of an instrument and electrical technician at the chemical plants, I&E. So I went to college for it here at our local Victoria College, and I did the work, right? But I absolutely fucking hated it, man. With passion.
Right.
I was bored as fuck with it. And so I was like, dude, I hate this. I didn't know what to do. Here I am, 19 years old, and I'm like, dude, what do you fucking do? So I switched my degree plan to business management, and I said, you know what? I'm going to make a living out of doing lift kits. This is what I'm going to freaking do.
Nice.
And so luckily, my dad let me use our shop in the back of our house. It's about a 1,500 square foot shop with 2 huge overhead doors, plenty of room to work. And man, I did that for 3 years out of my parents' house. It was word of mouth and classified ads that kept me busy, bro.
It's awesome.
And then, I had to have some side jobs. I could never work for anyone either, man. Being an entrepreneur, dude, I got fired from every job I ever owned or ever worked at. Man, I made it work. I stayed busy. And then I ventured off about 3 years after that into some industrial bays. And, dude, we kicked ass, man. So I actually had to share this. Y'all gonna laugh at this one. For me to afford the bay in the industrial bay in the middle of town, I shared it with a car audio installer and a taxidermist.
Oh man!
So
it
was a crazy one, man. We had a badass shop, but it was a true man shop, right? You had car audio and dead animals and deer and everything else, and then I was lifting your trucks while I was at it. And it all worked out. They eventually faded out as I got busier and stuff. And fast forward to about 2007, an individual came over to me and said, hey, why don't you grow? You ever plan on growing your shop and getting out of this industrial area and wanting to get into more of a commercial area where you can be seen? And he was shutting his car audio shop down across town, and he had a nice front edge location, right? In the second busiest thoroughfare in Victoria. And I said, hell yeah, dude. He goes, why don't you rent my building out? And dude, rent was like $700. This is circa 2007. And so I moved my automotive lifts. I moved everything over, right? And here I am. I'm still a solo entrepreneur. I was still doing all the sales, the installs, everything all by myself. So we moved in. Everything was great, dude. I had some frontage. Could park the vehicles out front as I was completing them. Had a marquee. I'd always put funny shit out on the marquee, like friends don't let friends drive stock trucks.
Oh yeah.
Just funny. I want to make people laugh, man.
Yeah.
And so everything was great for about 6 months. And I had an older gentleman walk in, and I had a lease signed and everything, right? I had an elderly gentleman walk in, and he asked for this individual. And I said, I don't know where he's at. And he said, he goes, who are you? And I said, I'm Justin Schoener, Outlaw Offroad of Texas, et cetera, et cetera. And he goes, do you realize that I own this property? I said, I thought, what's his name? And he goes, yes, sir. He said, I own this. And he said, it's already sold, and you have 30 days to get out.
Wow.
So I was illegally subleasing, guys, and I had to move all of my crap out and finish trucks in 30 days.
That's crazy.
And I did my due diligence, man. I had a full written contract and everything. Well, I'm going to take this even a step further, dude. That was bad.
Right.
Well, he had a 3,000 square foot shop behind the front of this building. And that individual that I was actually renting from, quote unquote, built that shop and owned it. So what did he do? He went and tore the complete shop down in that 30 days while I was working on these trucks. So he tore it down. I was left in the open air to finish vehicles. I had to call friends over to run electricity, to get lights on, to get everything done. And dude, we got it done, but you talk about overcoming a serious challenge, man, and never giving up, dude. Giving up was never an option for me.
Sure. Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
luckily I was able to move back into my industrial area. So, I had about an 8-month stint over there, took some hella learning lessons from that. And I just grew with these industrial bays, right? So as I grew, I got to about 3 industrial bays, got several employees. And I had an individual approach me who believed in me, a customer, saw how good a quality of work we were turning out. And he approached me and said, dude, you ever thought about having your own location? And I said, I've been burned in the past. He goes, no, I'm talking about buying land, building a brand new building, and getting it all done. And I said, no, I can't afford that. He goes, man, he said, let me see your P&Ls. And we looked at him, and he goes, dude, he said, I want to bankroll you. I want to be your banker, and I want to help guide you into this process.
Wow.
So this was in 2015. And man, so I got a badass groundbreaking video. We'll send the link down there. It's on YouTube. Monster truck doing donuts, man. It is literally groundbreaking. It's a hell of a speech from me about my upcoming. And so, yeah, we got into a 7,500 square foot shop on an acre and a half in the middle of town. But how this comes full circle, guys, is outside my front door. If you look catty corner from the stoplight, you can see my old shop where that hiccup was.
That's awesome.
It is now a daycare, but that building is still sitting there. So I will never forget where I came from, man. Ever. All I got to do is walk out my front door, bro, and I can see it catty corner from me and think, dude, 2007, that's where I was, and look at me now. So yeah, we got 10 employees now. We're doing about 2.2 million in sales, and man, we are just absolutely killing it. We've got a hell of a reputation in this South Texas area, because when I build a vehicle, I want it to ride and drive better than stock. That is my whole goal. I refuse to use rough country lift kits. I refuse to use anything cheap. All we're using is high-end quality stuff, man. And if you don't like it, you're not my customer, period. I'm not going to sign my name off on that.
Right. What's your go-to? What's your preferred?
Every truck is different. Jeeps, I prefer AEV suspension. I'm an AEV dealer. And we use some JKS. We use a lot of BDS. We are an authorized BDS distributor. We use Zone Offroad, JKS. We use a lot of Icon Vehicle Dynamics.
Yeah, nice.
A little bit of TerraFlex. And a lot of Bilstein shocks, man. I feel Bilstein does make the best shock over Fox and everyone else. So those are my go-to brands.
Nice. No, that's a great story. I love it. So you said you've been in business now over 20 years, correct?
Yeah, 22 years now. Yes,
Amazing.
sir.
That's awesome. 10,
that's
10
great.
staff. That's great.
Am I still making noise? Like, am I still?
Yeah. You're still. It was there was a bit of an echo there for a minute, but I think we're good now.
Yeah, I saw it before, and then I switched to my headphones from the other mic.
Oh yeah, that'll do it. Yeah, it's much better now.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So I got another cool little story in the middle of all this. I'd like to hear one other major hiccup in my career.
Yeah, man. Of course. Let's hear it for sure.
So
hiccups are the best.
Yeah. So they're learning lessons, man.
Right. Absolutely. Right. You can't.
Every business owner needs to know that, dude, nothing goes smooth, man. And I'm right.
Like nothing.
Like, right. Nothing is ever kosher.
Yeah.
So in 2018, I built a Duramax dually. Customer spent about $27,000 with us. Lift kit, tires, wheels, amp steps, tuned, every goodie you could imagine on this truck, right? The truck only had like 15,000 miles on it, and beautiful build. He brought it back to us and said he had a vibration in it, and I drove it, and I was like, man, I really don't feel anything. But he said, dude, keep it for a while. So anyways, this truck had a vibration that was not consistent, and it was not there all the time at 68 miles an hour, and it would shake the hell out of the steering wheel. So what did we do as a shop, man? We tore it completely apart, literally like twice, 3 times. Bought new tires for it, bought new wheels for it. I mean, everything I could possibly do in my shop, I did. Changed drive shafts out, you name it, man.
Wow.
Still couldn't fix it. Took it to Houston, Texas, which is about 2 hours from me. Went to a high-end transmission shop, paid them to diagnose it to make sure it wasn't shutter in the transmission. Right. He said the transmission is perfectly fine. I took it into San Antonio to my buddy Chet at F-Bomb Diesel Performance, and he put 456 gears in it, which was going to help the 37s out anyways, right?
Right.
Put him in, spent $4,000 with him to do it right, and put Yukon gears in it, and got the speedometer corrected. And dude, I didn't feel anything driving down the highway. That truck, of course, had more power with 456s, right? Stayed in overdrive perfectly. And I got home, gave it back to the customer. Now, granted, guys, this customer still owed me probably about $8,000 on the ticket, and then the $4,000 on the gears. But I wasn't worried about that at all. I just wanted this truck right. So I let him have it. He called me back a week later, and he goes, "Dude, the vibration's still there, but it's changed to now 73 miles an hour." What? So all the gears did was change the RPM and the speed.
Oh.
And to this day, I was not able to figure it out, man. That is the only truck I've ever had to tap out on. But Ryan, you'll appreciate this. So I got really, man, it ate me alive. Like I took that very personal. The customer spent damn good money with us, man, and I couldn't fix it, and I didn't know what to do. I wanted to put the truck back, but as we all know, you get an IFS suspension, dude. You're not putting that thing back to stock. You know, you're going to cut the frame horns off and to lower the differential down and everything else. Yeah. It was actually a coilover kit, so it took a lot of the frame off with the BDS coilovers and got rid of the torsion bars and all that fun stuff. The truck rode great, pardon me. But so I started eating, man. I started stress eating, and I put on about 30 to 40 pounds. Wow. My buddy Jed reached out to me, and he goes, dude, you need to come see Andy Priscilla speak at Arte Syndicate in November of 19. And I went, and that changed my freaking life, dude. Seeing Andy up there on stage with Ed Milet and everyone speak, it lit fire to me. I've never been to a motivational talk like that.
Right.
And we got back, and when Andy started 75 hard, March of 19-ish, give or take. Right. My buddy Jed goes, hey, when are you gonna start 75 hard? And I was like, shit, man, I guess now. So I figured my meal plan, started it, bro. November of 19. I failed on day 65, bro. I forgot to take my picture. So 75 hard is a mental toughness challenge that it's not a weight loss challenge. It's 75 days straight of 2 workouts a day, 45 minutes each. One has to be outdoors no matter what. I don't care if it's snowing, sleeting, raining. You have to do your outdoor workout. I don't care if you do yoga. You've got to do something as your workout. You have to follow a meal plan. You have to drink a gallon of water every day. You've got to take a selfie every day. You've got to read 10 pages of an entrepreneurial or self-help book. And there's no cheating. There's no alcohol. There's no cheat meals. There's nothing. Well, I got to day 65, actually day 66, and I woke up the next morning and I looked over and I forgot to take my selfie, man. I failed. I failed. I was on fire, dude. I dropped like 30 pounds. My mental clarity was unbelievable. The shop was on fire, having so many awesome brainstorming ideas and everything. And so I tried it like 6 more times throughout that 3 months, dude. I just kept failing like day 30, day 20. My mind wasn't in it. Then Rona hit. We all know what Rona did in March of 20. You know, it didn't really hurt our business, but I just gave up, man. I was like, what the fuck? Business was still going good, man. We were, supply and demand, but Texas, we were able to stay open. We were only down like 15, 20% in business. So it wasn't the end of the world. We made it work, adapted and overcame everything. And then I got Rona in December of 20, and I put some link back on again. And I said, dude, this is ridiculous. Like, I can't fucking move. Like, I can't climb these stairs, out of breath with Rona. And I made a pact to myself at the age of 43 on January 19th, I will start 75 hard when I turn 43, and I'm going to complete that bitch no matter what. And I sure shit did, man. January 20th of 21, did 75 hard, had the app, which also helped, the download of the app. And I mean, I completed 75 hard April 2th.
Why'd you like the app better? Like, what did you like about that?
Able to keep, it's no different than a calendar, man.
Just nice reference point.
Yeah. And you can set alarms on it. So you need it before you go to bed every night. You just got to know in your head to check those things you did off.
Right. Nice.
So then that fast forward, and I haven't seen Andy speak then. So I met a young woman at Arte that year, and she asked me to go see Ryan Steuben speak at MDM in April in Dallas. And I went, and that's the only person I knew. And I saw Ryan Steuben speak, Sean Whalen speak, Lions Not Sheep, and saw a bunch of other people. And dude, it's impactful to be around supportive people, man. People that are truly passionate about whatever they're doing in life, and they don't have an ego, you know. Yeah. And it set me on fire. And I got on a phone call with Thomas Keenan. Shout out to him. He has a badass book called Unfuck Your Business. It is one of the best books I've ever read. Ryan, I'm going to send you a copy of it.
Cool.
And man, it just empowers you. So he comes from the cardio background of about 22 years. And so what he basically told me is like, dude, you've already ran and owned this business for 22 years. Why don't you teach and coach other people in your industry of all the mistakes that you made? And I had no idea that was even a thing. You know what I mean? And so now he's my coach, and we're setting this world on fire, man. So that's my 22 goal. I'm going to start my own podcast, write a book, and become the authority in the off-road industry. But I want to teach other shop owners and technicians how to be a better person, how to be a better businessman. Because as we discussed before we got on air, I feel that 95% of the shops around us are technician owned. They're not true businessmen.
Yeah.
And there's just little tweaks here and there to be able to have some freedom to leave a legacy within your family and to be at home more to support your family and to create systems, processes, and everything in your company.
For sure, right?
So,
Well, going back to what you said about the solopreneur thing, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard when you're like doing everything. Like, you got to make the sales, you got to do the work, you got to do the follow up. It's one man show is just tough to do, but it's also hard to scale if you don't know how to do it. If it's your first time doing it,
you're your own worst enemy in it too. You know what I mean? Your mental state is your biggest thing. You got to relinquish the guilt. You got to learn your barometer of like where to task out people and how to delegate and to not feel bad for like giving someone too many things. And if they fail at it, doesn't mean that was your fault or their fault. It could be a little bit of both. It's really interesting. Like I'm close to the same kind of space as you, and the same, like, you're a little older than me, not by much, and you've been in business a few more years than me too, but we're really close. And I listen to you talk, and I'm like, it's really cool because I know, right?
I know
like
that.
we brought you on to talk about you, which is great, but I can't wait to have like another conversation, me and you, and just shoot the shit on all the things, because like I've had the same kind of things. No one tore a building around for me, but there was other things that happened that were like, you'd be like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, that's hilarious, because you know the pain, So
really and Ryan, and I'm sure in y'all shop, perfection is everything because your name on it. It has your name on it, and you want perfection, but you've got to instill that in your employees and your technicians.
Totally.
Of what it's is
tough, right? Yeah.
Exactly. And so, dude, I've learned. I mean, even this past summer, man, I had to get rid of some cancer in the shop. It stung for about 3 weeks, but dude, we are absolutely. I've built the best team possible right now. We just had our Christmas dinner last night. Man, everyone loves the environment we have going on here, and it's just such a badass place, man. When you can get rid of cancer and put certain people in certain positions where they shine.
Totally. Yeah. We've had a couple of changes too that's happening. But my team's like, I was worried for a second, and I'm like, my team's like, no, we got this. And then every time something happens, we always become better. We always build back better. Like, we had an employee change just literally 2 days ago. No animosity, no challenges. It's just the way the COVID is in the new car dealers. We had to make a bit of a shift because up here we don't have a lot of inventory. I don't know if you guys down there, our new car inventory is pretty tight, but it's crazy tight where we are, right? And we do all of the new car dealers in the whole province. I have trucks and trailers that go to new car dealerships and pick them up. Like, I have double trailers, triple trailers, and we build them all for everyone. So, and then that was where we steered the ship to, because it's easy for the guys, right? It's scalable. They're playing with new vehicles. The techs love it because it's all fresh, clean stuff. And so it was really great. But now, we have to pivot again a little bit, right? So you're just constantly pivoting. So it's interesting when I hear you speak, and I like it. It's cool, right? Because like I said, I don't have too many friends that are in the industry exactly, right? Like that's the cool thing, right? We have similar things. Like, my shop's just over 8,000 square feet. My property's roughly 2.5 acres. My other store is like more of a retail environment, but it's a big retail store. So it's kind of cool. We were kind of close in this, that stuff. So I think it's really good. I'm really glad that you came out and
one thing I've learned from Apex, and I'm sure Ryan, I want to give as much as I possibly can, man. I want to help anyone and everyone I can. It feels so good being able to answer tech questions, being able to help people. I mean, that's what we're put on this world to do, in this earth, man.
Totally, man.
And so Apex has brought me into that spectrum. Mad shout out to Ryan Stewman for this, the environment that he's created. Man, I love helping other individuals, man, whether it's business, whether it's real estate, or just general questions, man.
That's kind of why me and Paul are doing the podcast. We're helping the community, stretching out, and then like through the manufacturing brand, like we're helping veterans, and we're doing a whole bunch of different things. So yeah, it just kind of feels good it's neat how powerful your microphone can be, right? If you just put some effort into it, right? Like, we raise money for kids, sick kids, Ronald McDonald House, toys. Like, you're just like, it's just cool, right? Because sometimes when you're looking at yourself, you're like, oh, I'm just some regular guy, but you didn't realize that there's people watching you, looking up to you. You're making impacts on people without even really realizing that's that reach, right? So it's cool.
And I just want to be the best person I possibly can be. I refuse to be average. And I'm going to do the work until I can possibly be there. I want to be a shining example to people around me. That I come from nothing. When I say nothing, middle class. I wasn't handed any money,
right?
But I'm a successful entrepreneur. And I built it. I did the work, and I refuse to give up.
Yeah,
man.
dude,
That's awesome. Tell us real quick. Let's circle back. We mentioned Apex a couple times, and then the other one. Let's tell everyone what is that? What is Apex?
So Apex is a group that Ryan Steuben started based out of Dallas. They've got 3 different levels. It's an entrepreneur slash community of support.
Okay.
When you get into the higher levels of it, he's got some back end stuff that allows. It's called Build Your Machine, from sales order processes to making you the authority in your industry, how and what to post on social media, et cetera, et cetera. So, man, it's just a badass group of people celebrating wins. Nice. And one of the most enjoyable things that I love about it is I put our Apex group at the top of my news feed in Facebook, and they encourage us to post our wins. So every day I open up Facebook, dude, all I see is people winning.
Right.
Dude, awesome. We did X amount of sales these days. We did X amount of this. I closed on this deal. I did this. And, dude, we all just support each other because we're truly happy for each other. And it has created a community where if you need something, you post it. Hey, you got a tax question? Dude, if I post a tax question, there's going to be 6 people tagged underneath it. Hey, Jessica can help you. This person can help you with that.
Right.
You got an accounting question. You've got a sales process question. Dude, it's just a great environment of a community, man.
That's awesome. Yeah. I always thought that'd be a great idea to, get a bunch of like subject matter experts together. Everyone like has their own sort of expertise, and then that's awesome.
And that's exactly what it is, man. And that's why I'm begging on you, Ryan, to join up and level up and join us, man. You can add a lot to the community.
I'd like to do. I'm pretty interested, just because like I really loved Andy and Ed, and like I'm part of the Arte Syndicate, and that like Justin was part of the Arte Syndicate as well, and then he flipped over. So I'm still in Arte, but I just noticed kind of like I don't want to really like cast a dark light on anyone, but I believe the quality of the not everyone. There's a lot of good people in there, but I think that new influx of quality, not without knowing anybody, it just seems like it's just being diluted a little bit. And
I can agree with you, man.
Right. And I love the general messages on the calls, but they're general messages, right? So it's like those calls, sometimes they're cool because I can reflect on some things that happened in the call. Oh, yeah, but it's not like hyper specific where based on my information and based on what you've told me, it sounds like the Apex one is way more tactile. And that's kind of more like what I'm looking for that, like more aggressive people, more, zoned into certain specific topics. And then more people that are like, hey, actionable steps, let's hit it. Whereas Arte now is more generalized. And there's a lot of like the new people are weird. Like I've talked to some of my friends in there, like the people that like I originally joined like right away. And like I started listening to Andy, but I just happened to find him like when he just started his podcast. Like, so I've known about him since like day one. Like he literally posted the podcast the day before his first podcast. I found him the day after kind of thing. Yeah. So it's been really interesting. But I just feel like talking to like Tio, like I don't know if you ever see Tio, he'd always post about come into the after call chat. Like he's been doing that since it started. And he's like, dude, all these people DM me about like, can I sell you something? Can I get you into my insurance club or my shit? He's like, fuck, I've had enough of these fucking jokers, man. And I'm like,
no one's trying.
Mike's in there, right?
Yeah, Mike says the same thing.
Mike Miller, he's like, agreed, Ryan. I have been thinking about Apex as well. Like Mike's a good buddy of mine. If it wasn't for Arte, we would have never met. And we have a great friendship. You know what I mean? Like he goes to the wall for him. For me, I'll go to the wall for him. And that's the beauty of it. Like all the money that I put in and the time and effort is worth just me and Mike's friendship. So I don't regret a second of it. And Callie Keene, great man. One of my favorite people as well. Like if I wasn't in Arte, I wouldn't have met him either. Like I have like, and Tio, I love Tio. Like there's probably a handful of guys. Yeah, right. Scott Simon. He's a great guy too. There's a ton of great people. I just feel like, it just needs a little more. Like you know what I mean?
Tactical, the meat.
Right. Yeah. Right? If you're not getting like step by step,
Go ahead. That's what Apex is too, Mike, we're friends on Facebook, Mike. But I've never reached out to you. Never really sat and talked. But I know we're good friends. We're friends on Facebook. So
there you go. Nice, awesome. Tell us quick, what do you have right now? What are you driving right now?
I purchased the new 2021 Gen 3 Raptor, man. Nice. Not sure if y'all are aware, but Ford with the Gen 3, Ford did coil springs for the first time ever in a truck.
That's awesome.
Okay, so similar to the Bronco, right?
Yeah, well, the Bronco has IFS.
Sorry, yeah, fair enough.
But
Yeah,
in
the
a
Bronco, we
half-ton
got strut rear, right? Live axle strut, and you got twin A-beam strut in front as
IFS
well.
in the front.
Yeah.
So yeah, Ram has had the coil springs out since 2009, and Rams ride good, can't haul any weight, but for the Gen 3 Raptor only, these coil springs are phenomenal. Progressive rate, I believe it has 18 inches of rear wheel travel.
That's pretty awesome.
We'll post some pictures up of me catching some air in this thing.
Yeah, here, check this out. I can post it right now. Here we go. Check this out.
Boom.
Yeah, that was at Rally Ready in Austin, Texas. They have a dirt track for cars, the Rally Ready Subarus and stuff. And the first weekend of every month, they let us come out and jump the trucks. And dude, that truck has 300 miles on it right there, brother, on 37s.
That's the way to do it, man. You got to enjoy it, right?
Yeah, Ford built that suspension, man. Those 3.0 shocks, and dude, it landed perfectly. And man, it's just been a badass truck. I really enjoy it, and man, that thing rides like a car. In all seriousness,
they're 3-inch diameter now.
They're actually it's 3.1 to be totally technical, because
cool.
the old coil spacers, the bottom strut leveling kits would not work on it because Fox made it to a 3.1 coilover for whatever.
Because I had a 12 Raptor with 6.2.
The motor,
I had it in 12. I just didn't. You like the EcoBoost? Like, you like it? The motor seems pretty jamming, or what?
I mean, it's okay. It does have 450 horsepower and 520 torque.
Yeah.
It runs great. Ford changed the exhaust. They did a trombone exhaust to really quieten it down and get rid of the raspiness.
Yeah.
But man, it has the best feature I've ever seen. On the steering wheel, you can control all the exhaust notes. So you can go to off-road and you can open it up. And I'll be honest with you, it doesn't sound horrible. It doesn't sound like a pissed-off six-cylinder, pissed-off weed eater, whatever you want to call it. And if you want it totally quiet, then you just push the button and knock it out. I got a heavy foot, so I like opening it up. And I've already changed the intercooler out and waiting on some tuning and stuff. But I've already done some up pipes and a new intercooler. Did an SMB air intake and some other goodies on it. Banks pedal monster, and man, just made it as possible as possible. Waiting on Magnaflow to drop some exhaust and waiting on to get some tuning, man. I'm gonna see who's gonna drop the first tune on that thing. Probably Livermore or someone like that.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
There was one I bought a Bronco the other day. What was it? I was just gonna look real quick. I'm just got my guys looking for me for some junk for it. But
while you look at that, Mike says Iron Mountain, the park he teaches off-roading.
You can go take the Raptor there.
It's building a trophy truck.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, a trophy truck track.
So these guys, this Burger Motorsports has a tuner like 100 horse for the Bronco for the 2.3.
Yeah. So I put the JB4 tuner on mine.
Oh, you did? Oh, yeah, you said that. What did you think? Do you like it or no?
I did the intercooler at the same time at the up pipes. Yeah. It runs tremendously better. I still feel it neat. So that tuner plugs into the map sensors and is adjustable through the app. Yeah. I still would like to put a full-blown tune on it that actually changes the ECM.
Oh, okay. Like, you want to chassis tune it? Like, put it on the
No, I just want to tune the ECM completely instead of full of the map sensor signals. That tuner plugs in with only 2 plugs on the map sensor and somewhere else on the intake there. So it's basically dumbing more fuel into the system. And it works, don't get me wrong, but I want something with a full curve, tuning the full ECM.
And who are you gonna go for that? I just want to. I don't even want to write it down.
Livermore is out with one, and 5-star tuning, man. As soon as they can come out with one, based on an SCT platform, something like that. I know Cobb Tuning will have one out shortly.
Cobb will be good.
They're based out of Austin, Texas. Unfortunately, they didn't want my truck as a donor. I said, dude, take this thing for a couple of weeks, man.
Oh, really? Yeah. They didn't want it?
They didn't take it, man. I'm like, God dang, dude, just tune this thing, man. I wanted to haul ass. So, another crazy thing is this truck doesn't have a speed. Oh, it has a speed limiter, but I got up to 127 in the truck, man.
That's
shit.
Yeah, so I got up to 127 on the EcoBoost, and the Ram TRXs are my battle truck. It's a battle truck from Ram. Yeah. And that thing is 112, but it does have 702 horsepower.
I was gonna say, why didn't you get the TRX? Did you consider it or no?
So I just outfitted a buddy of ours truck at Apex, Thomas Keenan's, and I've driven his truck home from Dallas. The truck has unbelievable amounts of power.
Right.
The truck is great. The truck, when I'm driving it though, it feels like a 3/4 ton. It's heavier, and I'm sure it's beefed up for that much horsepower with that 6.2 Hellcat motor in it. And like I said, 702 horsepower. It's a nasty bitch, man. Supercharged. Yeah. I mean, it's fast as fuck. But it's just too much, man. I think I would be in jail with that truck. To be totally honest. The EcoBoost. So Raptor's coming out, the Raptor R. They will have a V8 in it. Scheduled to be released sometime, probably early summer. Ford hasn't announced total final plans on that, but I know it is coming.
I bet
but
it'll be
man,
150 grand.
Oh, easily, man. I mean, and plus between the markups, everyone's
Oh
gonna
yeah,
want
with what's happening now, yeah, for sure.
because I could sell this Raptor right now for 100,000 easily. There's just none out there.
Right.
People are finding, especially already decked out and waiting on my ADD bumpers to come in. They're on order. They'll be in February. So
awesome.
Get those, and I want to get back out to that track and do some more jumping, get some videos of this thing. But I want my bumpers on it. If we're gonna spend the money on videoing, and so early February the bumpers will be in, and we're gonna take and jump this thing some more, man.
That's awesome.
That'd be awesome.
So what's next then for Justin? I mean, obviously you've got Outlaw Offroad, but you mentioned some real estate and some other things you're working on. What's next?
So it's crazy. During 75 hard, I was doing my last walk in the evening because you can walk as one of your workouts if you want. And I live on the river in South Texas, man. And I was like, dude, I have a badass river spot. Just live there. And I was like, dude, why can't I make money on this thing? So I started diving into the short-term rental market, aka Airbnb, VRBO, and I visualized that through my 75 hard workout. And dude, I made it happen. So I've got a couple Airbnb properties now. I want to expand that to about a portfolio of about 8 to 10 across the country. And learning a lot. I'm ingrained in several mastermind groups with that stuff, but I also want to buy an off-road spinner van.
Yes,
nice. Spinner van. Check it out. Travel the country between these Airbnbs. And then here comes the second part, in chapter 2 of my life. I want to come to these off-road shops, these smaller shops, and offer some coaching services to them. I want to walk in these shops and help them out, man. I want to help these guys succeed in our industry. To have profitable businesses, and again, leaving a legacy behind them where they're not having to work 16 to 18 hours a day and stressed out like I was for 22 years.
Yes, right. That's awesome. If you could help someone with that, I think that'd be worth its weight in gold.
Well, there's lots, right? Because I think there's 360,000 like aftermarket automotive shops across the United States or something.
Really?
Like that. Yeah, I did some looking, right? I was doing some fantasy forecasting for our manufacturing brand for the Combat.
Oh, right.
If I could just get 2% of those, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Wow.
That was pretty cool.
It don't even have to be in necessarily in the off-road, but any automotive shop, aftermarket parts, tires, wheels, it all basically relates to the same processes and everything else.
Oh yeah, for sure, right? Yeah, like
creating core values in the business, creating a mission statement that everyone wants to work for, man.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, our guys live by the core values. Like they'll come up to me and go, "Oh, this guy's just he's not going to fit in here," and then we'll get a consensus and we'll, if we have to exit someone. Well, not now. I mean, this was before. Everyone now is pretty cohesive, which is nice. It's pretty neat.
Yep. Nice. So that's on the agenda, man, for 2022. I want to get my podcast started up. Have you guys back on it?
Yeah, sick.
I'm going to write a book. I want a podcast for the van, man. I'm serious. I want to have that.
Oh yeah, that'd be amazing, right? Cruise around. That'd be awesome. Just go from like shop to shop, interview them, talk to them.
That'd be a great idea.
And then have the podcast for the van. I am going to have a book scheduled for 2022 that I'm going to write, and then Apex has really enlightened me to how to write a book and being the best that I can be as the best version of myself possible.
Yeah.
So those are all on the agenda for 2022, man.
You got a title in mind or what? Anything on the back?
I do.
Anything you can share? You might not want to.
I'll share it, man. I think what my title's going to be is I did the work.
Oh, cool.
I did the work. There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, they teach us to do the work in Apex, and I've done the work for 22 years, man. And I continue to do the work no matter what kind of struggles I'm going through. I'm never giving up, man.
Yeah, man.
And just telling my story and enlightening others on how to be the best version of themselves possible.
Yeah, I think that's really the differentiator between successful business people and not, right? It's just
got to be too stubborn to quit.
He's just gonna say he's got to be fucking stubborn. Like, just don't give up. It's like, fuck you. Like, there have been times where it's like 3 o'clock in the morning and like.
Oh yeah, you can whine to yourself about it and be like, "Fuck this," but I mean, you're not gonna give up. Just don't do it.
And then you
right?
start over again. And you just keep going, right? Like, yeah, that's the differentiator, I think.
I think back to like all that stuff. Like I thought about, this is it. This is where it's over. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then you just be like, whatever. I'm just gonna keep going until it's over, and then it's never been over. So I'm just gonna keep
Right.
going. You know what I mean? Like you just pivot, or you adjust, or you adapt, or you conquer, or sometimes you have to lose a battle to win the war, and that's just part of it, right? So
Yeah.
very interesting.
I lost the battle on that Duramax dually, man. But
right.
Yeah.
at the end, I know what I did. I didn't charge the guy the full bill. I did the best I could.
Yeah.
For it, But yeah, man. I mean, just overcoming, especially the COVID situation. I'm sure y'all up there in Canada, like you said, it's definitely horrible. But
dude, like in prison up here, dude.
You got to adapt, overcome, figure it out, how to make it work.
Exactly, right? Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's good.
For sure. It's it's fun. It's for sure. It's challenging, to say the least. Business ownership and entrepreneurship, but yeah, I mean, having people that you can lean on, and it sounds like Justin, you with the coaching perspective, sounds like you have a lot happening in the future. Which is awesome.
So one other thing is, I've also learned in the past years to be coachable, man.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Don't be so conceited that you know it all. You keep your mind open and be willing to listen to what other people are saying. You don't have to follow what they're saying, but just hear them out.
Right.
You know? And man, being coachable, it has taken me, my mind has just exploded from Apex and being coachable to all these guys around me, man. Because someone's done it better than me somewhere.
Right?
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's a good tip for sure.
I've got to toot my own horn. Y'all are my 10th podcast to record for 2021.
That's amazing.
And I'll be honest with you, back in September of 21, a buddy reached out to me for my first podcast, and I thought to myself, I doubted myself, man. I said, who the hell wants to hear my story?
Right? Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah. But that's
I love it, man. It was a great story.
Yeah, it is a great. It's totally.
We only just touched on it,
I certainly want to hear. I'm glad.
And then here we are 3 months later. This is number 10 for 2021. So I think
amazing.
There you go.
That's a podcast game on this, man.
That's awesome. 10 in 3 months. That's killer. I think that's more than we've done, and we have a show. That's amazing. All right, well, listen, Justin, really appreciate you being on. Tell people, where can they find you on the social webs, should they want to hang out and say hey?
They can follow along on Facebook. Justin Schoener. The last name is spelled Schoener. It is a public profile. And then Instagram is Schoener. We've got our business, Outlaw Offroad of Texas. We've got about 15,000 followers on Facebook and about 5,000 on Instagram. Follow along my personal page. We've learned that through Apex is that you get much more engagement through your personal pages. So I'm constantly posting inspirational stuff, constantly posting what I'm up to give people inspiration, man, and to give people hope of overcoming everything. So yeah, feel free to reach out, slide in my DMs, ask me any business questions you've got, any technical questions, or how I can help you, man, because I'd love to serve anyone that I can.
That's awesome. Okay,
I really appreciate it, man. That's amazing.
Really,
that's great to finally talking person-ish.
Yeah,
we'll have to get you back on when the book drops.
Yes, definitely, man. And we'll be doing it for that Sprinter van too, bro. I guarantee that.
Right? Yeah, let's do that.
Hell, that Sprinter van maybe in Canada, man. I'll come see you in the neighborhood.
Or maybe I'll be the fuck out of here and you don't have to go as far.
Right.
That's awesome. All right, well, Justin, again, really appreciate it. Learned a lot, and everyone who is still listening, people are tuning in on the audio. Thank you so much for sticking around. Thank you for listening. Thank you to all the people that left comments, as always. And that's it. We're out. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Thanks, Justin. Thanks so much.
Thank y'all for having me on too, guys.
All right.
We'll talk again
next week.
Yep.